Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Shadowverse. So it took me like a day to get all of Isabel's quests done off screen. So I definitely am right to just skip over the battles. I would also say I very much got stuck in the mindset in which I could only really figure out and win with one of the 8 pre-built decks, one that was very much about spell boost and cards that reduce their cost because of spell boosts, um, and that also a few cards that buff up a character. Um, but it definitely feels really like challenging there for the first chapter in a solo mission, which you would expect to not really be this challenging. You'd expect it to be for new players first and foremost. I also came upon this thought that unlike Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone, there is kind of no control in this game. By which I mean there's no real way to place a trap card or something like that, or play a instant counter spell in Magic terminology, to stop somebody from actually playing a card. Um, so far, I've not seen any card that does anything like that at all. It seems like maybe that was intentional. A lot of collectible card games are started from the idea that the creator of this new collectible card game has some grievance with something like Magic the Gathering, and or whatever other game that they are more familiar with, and so they'll steal or borrow a lot of the established rules and ideas from Magic, but then they'll remove the one thing that they don't like, uh, which a lot of times it very well may just be a personal grievance and a personal choice that nobody else agrees with. But it seems like in this case, control is the thing that's missing, and that is definitely why there is just this kind of tit-for-tat gameplay that happens where you play a creature, they play a creature, you attack their creature, it kills both your creatures, then you play a creature, then they play a creature. Rinse and repeat until you're at the 10th turn, and somebody has somehow slightly better cards by the 10th turn that they can have one extra creature on the field to start actually doing damage to the leader. The only thing in this game that is even slightly like a control card is cards with ward that block you from directly attacking the leader. I have seen one card that was kind of interesting that reduces the amount of damage that specific follower has by 1. That's was interesting, but that's about it. And we still very much are not seeing a lot of variety in the cards we're playing, in the pre-built decks, and in what we're just doing in general, in the main story, which maybe later expansions added to those concepts, but I'm not even sure they did. So there may just be kind of a slightly smaller amount of growth in this game compared to Hearthstone or Magic, which I don't know if that inherently is a bad thing, but it probably is. Alright, so we're going to do Rowan's Dragoncraft story. We kind of know a lot of his backstory anyways, unless there are things he doesn't know that he'll find out. And we still are just on the exact same map. I imagine this is going to start right when he defeats the black dragon and gets turned into a black dragon.
We should head out.
They definitely are trying to make
Thank you so much.
So here's
I
Kyle
was waiting for this day.
and Isabella.
When will you be home again?
Bye-bye, Daddy.
And that's his wife and his daughter that he's mentioned the names of.
Not here. Not now. Isabel!
I wouldn't put it past the story that he killed his wife and daughter, too.
It's that damn dream again. I've had enough to last a lifetime.
And they still just don't animate him right. You can't see the top of his staff.
What the hell is that thing?
Now, if he turns into a dragon every time, then are you playing as the dragon? That kind of doesn't make sense. So I imagine every battle in this story will be him playing as a human, and then there will be just that one point near the middle of the story in which he transforms into a black dragon. Some Dragoncraft cards have the abilities to take the effect when Overflow is activated. Overflow activates when you have 7 or more point orbs. So play this.
My dragon and I are one.
It's still weird that you effectively don't get your custom settings when playing these little tutorial games. So this gives you a 7th one, which activates Overflow even though it's not 7 full ones, which is slightly different than what I would have thought. And then evolve this.
Be gone.
Come on, partner.
I'd say it feels like the Dragoncraft cards should be cards that are kind of synergized towards being powerful and a fairly late game strategy. Arguably, the entirety of this game is more late game strategies than early game strategies. Like, I haven't yet seen anything where you can win on the first or second turn, which might again be a grievance that the card creators were trying to address. A follower's evolve effect activates when you evolve that follower. Play the Dragon Warrior and evolve it to use its ability. Now, normally you would not be able to evolve two things back to back, I don't believe.
It won't be long now.
Fall back.
Lizardman was destroyed. The Dragon Warrior is now able to attack because it's evolved. Use it to attack the Minotaur.
Is that all you got?
I guess I probably would say this is an improvement over kind of how Magic and Hearthstone does dragons in general.
I only did what I had to.
Because in fantasy lore, usually, depending on what lore you're following, dragons are always few and far between. You'll have in Magic Nicol Bolas or whatever, and maybe you'll have a few other lesser wyverns or lesser dragons, but they're pretty much not too many dragons in Magic compared to, say, humans or soldiers or even mermaids. I imagine there's more merfolk actually, and the same is true in Hearthstone also. There's dragons. There's probably a dozen dragons in Hearthstone over 5 years, but that's it's not like there was a whole class of dragons.
How long have I been up here now?
Now, inherently, this does mean that some of the dragons are going to be fairly weak.
Still am.
But I don't hate that idea.
Not when my family needs me.
I guess he's going to run into the
a little longer.
creepy girl. It would be funny if it turns out the creepy girl actually is his daughter.
You're back. And you're a little girl?
but they're not gonna tie into that.
You're not saving your skin that easy.
So he fights the ghost of it. I did eventually realize that some of the times we fought the wolves when we were playing as Orisa, or we fought as sorcerers or officers when we were fighting as the other characters. That was because they want you at some point to fight somebody with the same abilities and the same card style as you, and it wouldn't inherently always make sense for you to just fight a copy of yourself. They could do that, certainly, but they chose not to. So instead you see officers that are faceless, or you see sorcerers that are faceless, or you see wolves.
They change shape. Any one of them could be pretending to be me. Don't know what'll happen if I go home. But I can imagine what will happen if I don't. Time to get moving.
See, and I keep getting the feeling that this guy is just like older in this story than he should be. Because if you think about Isabella's story, the implication really is that she was informed that her boyfriend Kyle was killed a while ago, not just like hours before or even days before. She'd been working on resurrecting him and talking to him for a while, which implies that he's been missing for like weeks or months, if not years. And then it would be kind of funny if it turns out he actually is the Black Dragon and Rowan died. And the Black Dragon absorbed his memories. That'd be an interesting twist. But I guess they didn't want him to fight the actual little girl,
It's a horde of
which inherently highlights that issue of one of the leaders being a little girl.
So soon.
It probably would have been better if they had aged her up a little bit and made her more of a goth teenager, 16, 17-year-old, instead of looking like a 8 or 9-year-old.
First name Rowan. Urias. That sounds familiar.
A worthy fighter, no doubt.
You should know.
I think I know you.
Fortune has brought the two of us together. Those beasts have no passion for battle. I challenge you.
And of course Urias has lost time, because he's been like trapped in a coffin, I imagine.
You are stronger than most.
How do you like that, huh?
And I guess the stories,
and insulting.
I guess the stories boil down to everybody losing some battle outside of their story, and everybody winning all the battles they see inside their stories.
Why?
I can't lose control.
So you welcome defeat?
If that's what I have to do.
I see. Then I shall continue to seek a worthy opponent. I am finished with you. But allow me to inquire. What became of Balthazar, conqueror of the vampires?
I'm not much of one for history.
History?
Wait, Urias? Formond? That can't be your real name. You're saying you're a vampire?
That is no concern of yours. Farewell.
So he's looking for Balthazar, who was probably the king.
Yeah. Farewell to you too.
He was probably the king that gave birth to the princess we saw. But the princess also has an older brother that we've seen mentioned. And we don't know who he is, or if he's really going to play any role in the story.
Thank you.
I'll let you know as soon as we set a day for the wedding.
You're coming along, right?
And his story clearly only makes sense if you had seen the Isabel
here.
story.
Not now. Isabel!
You're gonna be very confused as far as who Isabel and Kyle are at all.
It wasn't my time yet, Dragspear.
Every time. This is my punishment, isn't it? So be it.
It did occur to me this might have been that you could do a story like this that might be fairly interesting, where all these characters are basically in hell and they're just reliving their own nightmare over and over again.
What brings you here of all places?
Although there are a couple games that sort of are around that theme in that story. I don't think there are any collectible card games or like that.
They're
And
monsters. Don't show them any mercy.
All right.
and I don't know
last
if
person I wanted to
that
meet.
tells a good story in the long run like that. Apparently at some point Magic the Gathering many years ago tried to make a collectible card game based on like Cthulhu monsters and
Feels like I'm hurting
just
her all
monsters
over
in
again.
general, which
I can't keep doing this.
is interesting, but it's a little too grotesque and a little too grim of a theme.
What could I
Whereas
ever say?
having multiple leaders that are on variations on different themes allows it to be more accessible to more people.
So where have you been? Dragspear?
It's hard to explain.
I can imagine.
But yeah, we're just boiling through this
What
real
happened?
fast
Kyle
this
was
time.
on your squad. Do you know how much of the military's report was true?
I'm sorry, Isabel. I've been one sorry excuse for a commander.
Yeah, you run a
You're not
problem
to
here.
blame. I'm sure it's still very
This
rough
is
for
the
you
same
two.
conversation we've
So,
already seen,
This means he
but
can't be far off either,
from the
right?
other side, the
Isabel.
person you're playing on
I
as is
know,
always
I
on the
know.
left.
That doesn't mean he can't be brought back, though.
Back to
But you
life.
run into this problem where
It may go against the
bright,
order of
colorful anime girl
things, but I have to see
is
him
way
again.
more visually interesting to at least me than this
I've been
guy.
conducting
So
experiments
So
ever
the
since I got
second
word of what
she's
happened.
on the screen, it just becomes she's
It's
the main
really only a
character
matter of
and he's
time
an
before I
unimportant
succeed.
side character. She's even
need to see
talking
him
more
again.
than him anyways.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. And when it does, the three of us will all have a drink together, okay?
It's over, Isabel. It was me.
And see, the only thing I could think of
I'm sorry.
once he gets trapped into the Morning Star is that maybe he had some like secret desire for Isabel himself. But we can see his power. We already know his power did
What is it that
help
sets me
Isabel
off?
escape the
What's the
Morning
secret?
Star, so he's more
I
powerful
need a solution.
against it than anything else. Or that we, at least anything else we've seen so far.
More of you, huh? Maybe they can give me some sort of clue. Now's the perfect time to see.
Is everything okay?
Who are you?
Call me Sumeragi. You're from the army, aren't you?
Yeah, and this
Allow
is
me to join
also
the forces.
dialogue we've already
He's
seen,
one hell of a fighter.
which means
Thanks. My name's Dragspear.
probably
You
the
take
second
one,
to
and I'll
last
get the
hero
other.
is gonna be somewhere around 75% just repeated dialogue. Which again
Come on,
makes
let's go.
the great argument that chapter 1 should have just been all of the characters together as a group going towards the Morning Star as one linear story being told, instead of trying to break it up into 8 separate stories.
Can't save anyone.
I guess
You tore
maybe
right through
the
them.
thought is that
Well,
these monsters are somehow scanning the
You'd have to
minds
be with the army to know
of
my name.
I'm a royal
of the people they're
attendant.
fighting, and that
I heard
is
that you
what
went missing in
creates
action,
the
but
terrible
You're alive.
dream states in the Morning Star.
Let's say I'm on a mission. I take it they've got you investigating those beasts.
Them and Urias Formond. It looks like they might be connected. Any leads would help.
And again, the same
As
problem
a matter
again,
of fact,
where you
You
just
can't be serious.
I fought him a
she
little
is
while back.
talking more than he is, and
Where is he now?
she's
Did he
much
say
more
anything?
visually interesting.
Not much. Right as he left, he asked about Balthazar. Urias might want revenge. Going to have a hard time trying, though.
No, he's headed to the castle. I'm grateful for all your help.
Hey!
Yes?
I wouldn't have pegged the princess's handmaiden as such a warrior.
I am her sword and her shield. She is my everything.
Oh,
Goodbye.
something big happened. I have to save my family.
There's kind of no story here, and there's definitely room for story, since he's trying to save his family. He should be asking people about his family the whole time. And so what you might want to do is expand this, have a city where his family lives. He asks everybody, do you have any news of this city? And they could say either they don't have any news of the city, or I've never been there, or I've never heard of it. And then later in the story, he could ask somebody, do you have any news of the comings and goings of the city? And they go, you haven't heard? That city burnt down and killed 100 people. Or a dragon attacked that city. And then you could have a big reveal that he's already gone home and turned into a dragon, and then accidentally killed his own family and many other people. That expands the scope of the extremeness of the story, and that gives him something to talk
Maybe it was a
about,
fluke. I
at
haven't
least.
changed once since then.
Or
Can't let the past
he
keep
could
overshadowing the present.
talk about his family to people a lot more,
They just
instead of
keep
just
coming.
kind of very abruptly responding to the questions and comments of
No,
other
She's
people.
surrounded. Are you all right? Step back.
Okay.
Now get out of here. I don't want anything happening to you.
You can see he does have like a protective streak in
I've
him,
got it. You! Hey, over here, ugly.
but him
Come on,
protecting
let's
Arissa
go. Need to save her. To
would
make amends.
would be better if he was
My
actually
body.
protecting the little girl, Luna, I believe is her name. And see, she went. It was at that point that she couldn't see
Not
anything.
again. Not now.
There was like fog or
I
magic
only
fog
wanted
that
to
showed up.
save her. Just like I only wanted to save my squad members. Why can't I protect anyone?
So he definitely feels inadequate and weak, but that doesn't really fall into a seven deadly sin per se.
A dragon! Someone help!
Get away! There's
And
enough
see,
blood on
again,
my hands as it is.
Arissa is at this point in the story too much of a seasoned fighter to just scream for help alone. And maybe
If I can't save anyone else, there'll be no salvation for me.
that might have been a good point for her to say, scream for Luceria help.
All is well.
Where's the girl? Is she safe?
Do not worry. The girl was able to.
And this is a
escape
question
unharmed.
mark, Eris.
Oh, that's a relief. You are?
I am Eris. It would seem that you have been afflicted by a dying dragon's curse.
Almost nobody
been
would
watching
end up playing this story
curse.
first.
A curse that transforms you into
So it's a
bloodthirsty
gimmick
dragon
that
whenever
really-
the desire to protect overwhelms you.
really doesn't work
So
for
I'm a
most
murderer.
people.
It need not be so. Make your way to the Morning Star.
I don't see how that would change anything.
It is up to you whether you heed my word. My only wish is to ease the suffering of others.
And there's no going home like this. It could be my last best option. Thanks for the advice.
I hope that all goes well.
We'll see.
Take care.
And see, he has like the longest conversation so far has been with
May your
her.
despair become your liberation.
And I don't think it's particularly a huge twist in storytelling that the one that looks like they're in a nun outfit turns out to be the bad guy. That twist really only works once for people, and usually they see some movie
This
where
all
it's
has to
fairly
be
obvious that was
The
going to
vampire,
happen
The creatures, the Morning Star,
in
the
their
curse.
childhood.
This damn
So
curse
I'm trying to
goes if
think.
it's the last thing I do.
What was probably the first movie that I saw where the good guy became the bad guy?
I'm going to tear you apart.
Well, oh, this is a different.
There's no one else to hurt out here.
There's a different character. Interesting. I watched Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom rather early in my life, so that probably is like one of the first movies or stories I saw where the person in charge, the boy prince, turned out to be a bad guy in part because he was brainwashed. But yeah, I would say that's probably one. Or, Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade. There's the
May
Nazi
your
girl
despair become your liberation.
also, so that probably worked. Yeah, that would probably be the first time. And there's probably some other stories where it's more on the nose with it, where somebody seems like they absolutely should have been the good person and they weren't, but it happens fairly often. And nowadays it might be more shocking to see a story where someone is dressed as a nun or a priest and they actually are just a nun and a priest.
Are you the one who did it?
Isabel.
People
What
have
are you doing
subverted expectations so much
Tell me,
now that
Did you kill Kyle?
Please
the
hear me
opposite
out.
is less common.
Drag spear!
Isabel, we were attacked. I tried to save him.
You killed him, didn't you?
It was an accident.
You monster!
No, Isabel, wait!
You're going to pay for this!
The thing here about Rowan's story is, particularly from like a Japanese perspective, if he accidentally got Kyle killed and he's turned into a dragon, he probably should turn himself directly over to the kingdom to be executed, and give her some justice, or just kill himself. That would be like the honorable outcome for something like this, is to fall on your sword and take the blame for a subordinate dying. He tries to do it here, but he's been wandering around for a long time, so he's been pulled between his desire to protect his own family versus that. But in a more honor-based feudal type society, him staying alive after he's killed his own subordinate just kind of brings danger and dishonor to his family. And then he fights her
That hurts, Rowan.
and
I
wins.
don't want to fight you.
You stole him from me. This is all your fault. You're a dead man.
Isabel,
What?
over there.
Then we get this animation again. This is kind of a great example of the problem with trying to make mobile games. Even though this does play on PC, it's almost certainly a mobile game first. You run into this problem where people's cell phones really don't have enough space to be downloading all the voice files and the video files.
I bring unto the world harmony.
See, that image, as is briefly being shown, would have been way better than what is shown here.
I am Nexus. That is my name. I bring unto the world harmony.
And the translation is terrible.
The infinity gate hath opened. Offer up thy woes, and the light shall be as thine eyes and thy flesh.
Again, I would just get rid of everything except for her flame arm and her dress, and really get rid of a lot of the extra fashion elements. It's just too much.
It's too bright.
Stay
It's just
where
being
you
over
are.
the top.
Fear not. On the other side, all pain is forgotten.
Isabel! Damn it, my eyes! Rachel? Natalie?
And we're kind of slowly making our way through here. We're at 30 minutes now. Still have to click quite a lot
Commander?
if you just wanted to watch the entire thing as a cutscene.
Commander?
Whereas I feel like
Commander?
if you just watched
Wake
it
up,
in replay mode, which is also an option, you probably would see it.
Are you okay, Commander?
And I don't know why they start with his face
Kyle?
being
Kyle,
hidden.
where are we?
There's kind of no point for that.
You took a hit to the head, didn't you? We're in the fray. In the fray?
Off with you, clawless imbeciles! Your stunted body shall not obstruct me!
So dragons talk. And there's a royal soldier, which looks different from the other
Our
soldiers.
ranks are in disarray. Tell me you can still stand, Commander. I'm fine.
Be an interesting twist if it turned out that Rowan was secretly in love with Kyle.
Things are about to get ugly, Commander. We've got to keep
But-
trying, Kyle. You know we can't afford to lose this.
I don't think
Come
they'll
on.
go down that route that
That's it.
much.
I'm leading my forces to slay the dragon.
This is more-
the black dragon that appeared on the borderlands.
More of a story clearly from the
How could I have
perspective of
forgotten?
someone who is
Kyle was right.
interested
Must
in
have taken a
girls
pretty good hit to
and
the
probably a male who's interested in girls. Commonly called the
coming,
male
Commander.
gaze.
head. I've got this. That beast isn't getting anywhere near the capital.
So it seems like Dragspear probably had all of his abilities except for the ability to turn into a dragon before he killed the dragon.
Loathsome creatures! You have scarcely crawled from the sea, and yet you resist me! Know your place!
Now, why are they trying to kill the dragon in the first place?
This dragon's strong as hell.
Honestly, if there was a dragon that talked, I'd just
We're
be
not
like,
getting anywhere with this
hey,
thing.
what do you want to protect our kingdom? Well, we'll give you sheep and food and protection.
What do we do, Rowan?
Or try
What's up,
diplomacy.
Commander? How are things looking?
15 casualties in the front guard. No damage reported in the rear guard, but our ranks are scattered. I don't see how we can keep this battle going.
And then this
We'll need to get
animation
back
is
into
weird.
formation. Let me know once our
Although
squads are organized.
I have to
and we're
applaud
ready.
this drawing as it is. Just look at the difference. Like, here's a realistic person in armor. Here's a completely unrealistic person in armor.
Of course.
Um,
Have the 3 youngest
and
men
even
relay a
Kyle
message to
is
the capital.
more in the middle
Yes,
between
sir.
the two.
We'll have them relay the word to speed up reinforcements. But are you sure we've got time to organize a retreat, Commander? That dragon's out of control.
While the squads are getting ready, I'll keep our friend here occupied.
I had a feeling you'd say that. But I can't let you stay on the front lines alone, Commander. You need some sort of protection.
Kyle, you focus on the retreat.
Hey, I'm not gonna leave you alone on the battlefield.
All right then. Prepare for retreat, soldiers. Kyle and I are gonna lead the dragon away.
So it seems like Kyle doesn't particularly follow the chain of command.
No mere human will impede me.
We're not any mere humans. We're soldiers who are fighting for the crown and the capital, and we're not about to lose.
The crown and the capital. That's a interesting phrase. Seems like 10 chapters in, if there's not 14 chapters, it doesn't feel like there's going to be
Done for yet.
much of a revelation here.
Mimic nothings, you petty-minded wretches.
And he's in the dream state right now. So what is
How
in
could we not? I'm sure as hell not letting you hurt my
his
family.
desire is to protect people,
Humans are weak. That's why we flock together.
to protect
And
Kyle, I
that's why
guess.
we can crush monsters like you.
So
Crush me,
his desire,
weaklings who scarcely live a century.
his desire might be the only pure one.
Malediction. This is my orgy of destruction.
Damn full of yourself. Commander, we've completed preparations for retreat.
But yeah, they really should have put the
All right,
sword
then.
away.
Get everyone out of here and then regroup. Once
Flip
you're through,
flip this
stand
sword
by.
the other direction so it's not
All
pointing at
units,
the person.
Begin retreat and get into counter dragon formations. Then stand by. Okay then, time for us to get out of here. Only problem's the dragon.
Yeah, but we've got no choice.
Abandon hope, you worms who writhe before my claws.
If you're gonna have a talking dragon, you'd hope
Looks
that they
like our
weren't
luck might finally be running out.
more
If I
interesting
don't make it
than
out of here,
just
get revenge for me.
evil
Enough of
for
that.
no
We're
real
both going to
reason.
get home in one piece. For the crown.
This is another opportunity to write better
I don't
story
care who we're up against. I'm not about to give
where
up.
he
The people back
like
home
his
need
eggs
this,
were
so
stolen
let's
by
fight.
the crown, or and that he's trying to get his own kids back, or he's trying to protect his own eggs. See, because then that would mirror Rowan's own desire to protect his own family. So eggs are young dragons. So that would be a good revelation here, where they found common ground.
We just
But
about
it
have
doesn't seem like that's gonna happen.
Now's our chance.
You have maimed my scales. How dare you? How dare you?
No, how dare you? Your rampage won't stand. I won't allow it.
Silence, inferior! I will shred you!
Yep, a lot of dialogue here
Commander.
that's really adding nothing.
We should have enough time to get back into formation, but that won't be enough to end this. If we want to take this dragon out, we'll need reinforcements. There's no way around it, but we can't take much more of this.
Now he's getting a
Why,
flashback.
damn it! Why is this happening? Commander, sorry I couldn't protect you. Isabel, I just wanted to see you one more time.
So he's having
Could it really be?
He's realizing
You're
that
looking
Kyle
real pale, Commander.
didn't
Worried
escape.
if reinforcements are coming? No, they'll come. It's just that... Just that what? What am I trying to say? It's nothing. Never mind. Good to hear. Looks like the final showdown's right around the corner. All right, everyone. For our families back home, we'll kill that dragon.
It's almost like you could maybe make an argument that his 7 deadly sin is greed, but it's a rather stretch. A greed for the company of Kyle, an unwillingness to let go of someone who died. But that is a real stretch.
All right, preparations are complete. Commence battle from counter-dragon formations.
But
Yes, sir.
the question is, how is he gonna really even escape this dream world?
The earth and the air are shaking.
It seems like everybody just remembers everything.
Coming!
And this is a terrible animation. They're literally just stretching the image, and then the fog effect over it is they're just panning the image downward, not stretching it, actually.
The dragon's on us.
And clearly they're doing like a fog effect over the image. A lot of the visual aspects to this game feel like they are Unity experiments for people who probably haven't made too many games in Unity. But it does kind of highlight that there are some visual effects and tricks that Unity lets you pull off compared to a very static, boring collectible card game, or trying to program everything from scratch in your own engine. But the entire second half of the story is just fighting the dragon,
This isn't over yet. Move to the rear
which
if you can. We're gonna
for
see
the
this
story
through.
itself means they're just talking
God
about
damn
fighting
it!
the dragon.
I swore I'd die with her by my side. Hey, you're not dead yet.
There is kind of a question as to why Isabella, as an alchemist, wouldn't be closer to Kyle.
Reinforcements have arrived from the capital.
Like, as an alchemist, it seems like she can fight perfectly well.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Commander. Dragon slaying units 2 and 3 have arrived.
There's those other soldiers.
You flies are helpless! No matter how many of you swarm around me, it will make no difference! I will squash you all!
So it does kind of imply that in the military only men can serve,
Commence offensive spells. Target the dragon
which
and fire.
would be typical for like a medieval mentality.
You miserable wretches!
But it wouldn't really make sense in a world where
At the ready, front guard.
so many
Commence attack.
female leaders have magical abilities. Now, I'm not sure if he gets all of his men killed or if he just gets Kyle killed and some
This
of
is
his
the end,
men.
Dragon. I'm turning your head into a trophy. Did we really get him?
And in the original fight, they won also.
Helpless to destroy me! Fool among fools! May you know the true meaning of my name. I curse you and your stunted flesh. Cry out in despair!
That's enough out of you. Your days end here.
Now, if they sped up these events a little bit, and then the curse happened, but in the dream it cursed Kyle and turned him into a dragon,
We're finally going home.
at least that would be an interesting
You're right.
twist.
It's over at last.
A curse upon you! A curse upon all those you would protect!
What is this? Not that again. What is it, Commander? Are you hurt? That could have been a hallucination from the stress of the battle. But no, it's too vivid for that. It
45
feels
minutes
too real
in.
and too physical.
So the thing that breaks him out of the
Now
dream
let's get out of
is him just having memories of what really happened. So clearly, if you were going to make these dreams to keep people compliant, instead of showing them something that happened in their past or that couldn't happen, the proper move would have been to show them something new that would not remind them of anything otherwise. So move the story forward, basically trap them in the Morning Star,
Rachel,
have
Natalie,
them
I'm home.
think that they freed. Hey, they do have a animation for Natalie.
Daddy's here.
And once again,
Welcome home,
here's an
sweetheart.
example of just way too much frilly
Sorry for worrying
dresses.
you all so much.
Just too much
Was
with this
everything
whole
okay while I was
these
gone?
pleats.
We're just fine. Natalie
But this
raised you,
outfit
that's about
without
it.
this would be fairly decent
You
and
missed him,
would make a
Mommy.
lot more sense on
I don't need Daddy anymore.
Luna. Plus her
I
hair's
see you're all grown up now,
not.
Natalie.
It's got a little
Yeah,
braid
I
in the
am
front, which is a
all
little too
grown up
much.
now.
And
I guess
then
that means you can
this
sleep
is
in your
not
own room.
terrible, but then having a long
Mommy,
braid
I want to sleep in you and Daddy's room.
and her outfit is not too detailed.
Is that so? You do know how to get your way, don't you? Just like your father.
I'm finally back home.
Unfortunately,
My mission
I
here
think
is to
these
keep my
characters
family,
may never
my
show up
beloved
again,
family safe.
and so that's
What's
kind of a
happening?
waste.
My body's heating up.
You have done the impermissible. When you attempt to protect someone, you transform into a dragon.
Who are you? And where did you come from?
This is a dream in which your wishes come true.
Yeah,
But even within the confines of the dream, you remain cursed.
Rachel, Natalie, hide behind me. I'll keep you safe.
No, not even you can flee from the deeds you have wrought.
yeah, I
My
would.
body, I'm melting.
They just kind of like disappeared behind him. He's so big.
A curse upon you! A curse upon all those you
Yeah, I would have, if I was the bad guy, if I was Nexus, I would have had them dream that they defeated Nexus and beat it, and maybe give them a bit of a challenge to defeat it, and then I would have had them move forward.
What's going on?
For Rowan in particular, I would have his curse lifted,
wanted to bring you
and I would
peace,
have
nothing
him
more.
go home and be with his family and be happy there. The idea that the curse still activates in the dream is weird, but it does mean that the curse is more
I aspire to
powerful
bring the people serenity.
than the dream, which something had to be. So that's not terrible.
What am I doing?
You have been cursed by the black dragon of malediction. That much you should remember, and remember clearly.
No, I thought it was just a hallucination.
The other thing
was
is they
reality.
could have given them a
If
dream
anything is an illusion,
that
it is this world itself. Look around you and see.
they could have given him a dream that didn't satisfy his
Huh?
desires.
No. Ah! Me? Was this all me? It can't be. No, 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 no.
Is something wrong, darling? Did you see something scary, Daddy?
So he probably did kill his family.
Rachel, Natalie, you're okay. But just a minute ago, you...
Yes, they are illusions of your family. So long as you wish, they will continue to appear. It matters not how many times you tear them to pieces.
I want to be with you forever, Daddy. It's okay if you turn into a dragon. We'll stay together until the hour of liberation, darling. Whether you're human or not.
She is kind of making a better offer to him than she's made to anyone else. And perhaps in the offer, he might have actually agreed to it.
I fought with Isabel and was sucked into the portal.
You are in a dreamland where hopes and wishes become real. But dreams and illusions cannot undo the curse that was placed upon you.
That's fine by me.
Now, remember in Arissa's story,
Dreams of their own?
she tripped over a crystal.
All here are living
Apparently,
according
those
to your own
crystals
desires.
are
Your
not,
liberation at the hand
are
of the
more of a red
all-knowing
herring at this point. We've gone through
Liberation.
four
I know I don't deserve to be free.
stories,
I'm
and
sure
only
she
one
wouldn't allow
story
it
has
anyway.
mentioned the crystal at all.
Hey, is Isabel here too? Dreaming her own dream?
Yes. She is here spending her hours with her lost love, clinging and wishing desperately she dreams.
All right. In that case, will you take me to her? I'm sure you've got the power.
So he asks,
But would you not prefer to spend that time with your family
he
instead?
asks her to take him,
There's no way that I could
and
see
she
that.
just does.
Next time, I might end up tearing them to pieces for real. Rachel and poor little Natalie. If I'm still cursed inside this dream, then there's only one thing I can do. I've got to make up for the blood I've shed.
Very well then. Go forth.
Hey, I owe you one. It was nice to have a good dream for a change.
I have done nothing. For nothing is all I can do.
I'm sorry, Rachel and Natalie, but I have to go. I have to take responsibility for killing Kyle.
It's going to be interesting to see what Arissa's story is and how much of the interactions we see actually are Arissa versus a copy or clone of Arissa. Because I think most of the time we have just been dealing with the clone of Arissa, not the real one. Or not Arissa, I mean Eris.
Is this her dream? Then where is she?
Yeah, we just saw this.
Is that you, Drexpear?
Now, it does occur to
What are you
me
doing here?
that maybe there
Isabel.
was originally a version of this in which
Commander, you didn't come looking for
this
me, did
is... Wow, that's a different
you? Oh,
animation.
It's Kyle. If the priestess was telling the truth, then this must be Isabel's dream. I
Like,
guess
there
outsiders
might be a
can't see it.
version
Would you mind leaving us
where
alone?
her
We're happy now.
shirt is more see-through.
Come on, Commander.
You see a little bit more
Do
cleavage.
you really want this, Isabel? To spend your life with a fake?
And then it
Looks
got
like our
colored
luck might
in,
finally
but
be running out. I
if
don't
that's the
get out of here,
case,
get revenge for me.
that's not going to be consistently the case for everybody.
I'm sorry it took so long, but you're about to have your revenge. She can use my life to bring this to an end.
Say
Really
something,
don't like
Drexpear.
this distracting shadow.
You're really happy now, aren't you, Isabel?
Yes, of course I am.
But he's a fake. There's no way you can be happy now. I stole your happiness from you.
Although this might visually
Can't stay
reveal
here, Isabel.
something when
Moving
the
on.
actual
Live
spirit
to
of Kyle shows up,
Quit
if
it
you can
already.
see him.
What are you saying? This isn't funny.
I stole your happiness, and now I'm about to rob you of the past you're clinging to. Live for the future, Isabel. Ah! Isabel!
Kyle? Kyle!
If you want to fight, I'm ready.
I don't know why he would actually fight, though,
Why?
other
What are
than
you
this is a
doing?
video game that wants people to
I'm
fight.
sorry.
You should just
This was
let
the
her
only thing I could do.
kill him, or kill it,
I
or
only wanted to
kill
be
himself,
together with
actually.
Kyle.
Because
It didn't matter if it was
there's
all
really
an
no
illusion,
reason
so
to
why
put
did you
blood
have to
on
steal him from me
her
not once,
hands
but 2 times?
What I
to
did
give her
was a
revenge.
crime, and I'm not going to turn my eyes from it any longer.
Once again, it seems like there's just like no...
See this? My sadness and my rage.
It seems there's absolutely no justice system in this society at all. which really wouldn't make any sense at all. Even if the justice system is literally just that the king decides whether you're guilty or not, and then you're immediately executed.
I hope you suffer like he did.
I know that I hurt Kyle and made him suffer.
But in that fight,
Who'd always fought alongside me,
he
killed him,
probably, in the card
and he's
game,
not
won.
coming back.
And yet,
Never.
the
Admit it to
story
yourself,
just showed
Isabel.
him kind of lose.
The last thing that I need is you rubbing it in. I know that. And it's the reason I hate you.
Then do something about your hate and start living your life again. I know that Kyle would want it that way. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you, Rachel and Natalie. I wish it didn't have to end here.
Don't you tell me what Kyle would want. If it weren't for you, I'd be happy right now. Pay, Rowan. Pay with your life.
And so he does appear. His actual soul
No.
just appears out of nowhere.
Kyle!
No. This isn't the right way. Move on, Isabel. Don't look back.
Which the idea of spirits and ghosts is an interesting idea,
What's going on?
but
Why is
I don't
Kyle's
think the
spirit
story is
protecting
going to do anything with it.
If this is Isabel's wish coming true, then she didn't want me dead after all. No, her eyes told the truth. But then why?
That's you, Kyle, isn't it?
Isabel.
If that was really you, Kyle, answer me. What do I do?
Isabel, Kyle is...
I don't want to hear it. I only want to hear his words. Kyle's words.
Yeah, and we're still just seeing a lot of stuff we've already seen. Okay, and then the last thing is called Back with Family, so let's see what happens there. I mean, he doesn't have the curse lifted,
Why did you kill Kyle?
and
He and I were out on the borderlands on orders to kill a black dragon.
I guess
We
he's gonna
lost a
go
lot of
home
good soldiers out there.
and find out if
we killed the
he
dragon.
actually did kill his wife and daughter.
A curse upon you! A curse upon all those you would protect!
But not before it cursed me.
Cursed you?
Whenever I try to protect someone, I become a dragon. No one can
It's
stop me until I
probably
kill.
fairly
Until I
easy
destroy.
to not try and protect
You're
people.
saying you killed Kyle because of the curse. The curse is to blame,
Like,
not you.
drop your armor, drop your weapon,
Listen, I have
maybe
no
chop off your
intention of
hands.
making excuses.
At a certain point, you
Kyle was
become
my support,
incapable of
but he
trying
was
to protect
also my
anybody
friend.
at all.
Last thing in the world I wanted was to take his life.
Dragosphere, I want to kill you. But I won't. Kyle protected you. I saw that with my own eyes.
Like, you could protect a
It
lot
wasn't
of
an
people
illusion.
by
It
just
was him.
living as a hermit somewhere,
Do you think I'm pathetic?
and always
A pathetic
just
woman
walking
living in a
away
dream?
from other people and other
No.
conversations.
I saw him too. Isabel, it's time to move on. That's what he would have...
The background music here repeats too
know.
much.
It's time for this dream to
For as
end.
much as this main story goes on and on,
It seems that you two are unable
They don't
to
have
find
enough
serenity here.
variety in the background music, and
You again. This was
it's
all you were
not
doing, wasn't it?
particularly great background music. It's
Wait.
very generic.
If we're inside the Morning Star now, then what's happening to the world out there?
The world is awaiting the hour of liberation. When it arrives, the almighty Nexus shall extinguish all humankind.
Extinguish? That would set me free. But I have to go.
We've already
I don't
seen this.
care
We
if I
just saw
disappear.
this.
But Rachel and Natalie, nothing's going to happen to them.
Oh?
So
Is it a sorrow you seek?
it's really
Then you
good
must
that
pass through me, the keeper of the dream.
I chose to not do 2 storylines in a row and make a 2-hour episode,
What is
because
that?
we literally would have
Proceed in
just
that
seen the
direction
exact
through
same
the chasm.
thing.
Outside awaits the world of sorrow that you seek.
Yeah.
Sorrow? That's nothing. I'm leaving anyway.
So it is.
Go ahead, Dragspear.
I have to admit,
I want to stay here for just
the level of story in this for a game, the bother to put a story in it is fairly
Time to head out.
too
I've
low,
got a family that
even by
needs me.
video game standards.
Rachel,
It's
Natalie.
not great.
Doesn't look like I can be
It's
there with
definitely
you while I'm
not
cursed. We might be apart, but my
not
heart
what I
is
would like to
always
be a
with you.
critic of,
There's
per
no
se.
way I'm letting anyone harm you.
There is kind of just a simplisticness in the story, and when I'm playing the game, there's often a simplisticness in the gameplay itself. So I definitely wouldn't call this a baby's first collectible card game by any mean. It's not something like Pokemon or even Yu-Gi-Oh, which Yu-Gi-Oh's actually fairly complicated. Pokemon would probably be the kid's first collectible card game I'd recommend for most people. So we've seen all of these people's stories intertwine. In all fairness, Isabel's and Rowan's intertwined way more than they should have. And everybody's story intertwines with Arissa's. So it feels like for Luna, we will probably have a story where she is most of the time on her own and her story doesn't intertwine, which feels like that probably should have been the case. And Urias is probably the same thing. And then Eris is going to interconnect all of these. And Yuan has not shown up for any of the characters at all. Almost to the point where I'm questioning if he wasn't added later in the evolution of Shadowverse, and maybe his story is completely different. Perhaps it would have been better to go up and down, but if you had done that, then you would have gotten Eris's story before you got Rowan's story. It probably would have been better to move her story here. Yeah. Then at least you'd have a bit of a break between the two. But yeah. It's definitely some problems. I'll mention that I have been playing ranked and doing the daily quests, so my score was at like 300, I believe, when I last recorded, and now my score in rotation is at like 1277, but I made it up to a rank where I'm rank D0, where I was a beginner 0 before, and when you're actually at a rank, if you lose, you fall down the level. Let's see. Flare. We've been unlocking flares, so we could get a general idea of what potentially is new. Doesn't actually look like too many. Let's see, main story ones. Serenity, Not a Prayer, Tactical, In the Wind, Salty, One Step Ahead, Noob, Please Help, Come at Me, Casual, Hardcore, First Farer. Okay. That's about all we're unlocking. In opening packs, we get these emblems, which could pick something, certainly. And this might be a good point where you would put in Natalie as an emblem character. Instead, let's see. I don't even know what that is supposed to be. But here, I'll just choose that as an emblem. And we'll see if that changes anything in gameplay. Probably doesn't. This master's menu. Wow, that took forever. That was like uploading something to the server. This master menu doesn't do anything. So yeah, you start at beginner when you're at 0 to 99. You work your way up to 1200 and you get to rank D0. Then you work your way up to 4499, and then you get to C0, and then you work your way up to 11,000 for B0, and then 20,000 for A0, and then 33,000 for double A0. And once you, I guess, beat 50,000, at that point you're a master, and your master level apparently starts you back at 0, and then you have to work your way up to 99,000 to get up to potentially 40,000 as Grandmaster. Odds are unlikely we see any progress in my entire career of playing Shadowverse in the future in this right half, but we made decent progress already, so it's not terrible. The flags are all unlocked by default, which is a fine system. I don't have a flag enabled, I guess. And then the leaders don't change, which makes it weird because there's definitely some things that unlock, but I'm not sure what they are actually unlocking. And let's see, we reached level 15 to get more gold, so I'm starting to sit on gold. And then in an hour and 4 minutes I'll get another mission. I'm trying to get solo player missions, but it seems like you get these temporary gyms missions every day regardless, which kind of stinks. We still haven't done anything with the crates, and yeah, it's not really anything more to say. I did want to look at the replay. I'll also mention that I've yet to find any promo codes. Clearly there is some kind of promo codes that you can get, but I don't seem to have that. Like this all wants you to use challenge tickets for things. So if we go to replay, replay is actually the games I've played. Wow, you just have like a full history of the last 20 or so games, and you can play it. Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering Arena both don't have that at all. Which I guess means that if you want to replay the story, then you have to do it from the solo mode. Alright, let's go to shop and let's buy one celebratory pack, because that's about all we have. Oh. Let's see. Logging in every day has been giving me more of these Fortune's Hand packs, which I assume that this is a expansion. Yeah, that's what I assume it is. It's just this is the most recent expansion, not a tie-in for some other anime that I just don't recognize. One pack. And looks like we've got some silver things. So we got a creative conjurer, If there are no allied Earth Sigil amulets in play, summon an Earth Essence, otherwise perform the Earth Rite to put a Golem summon in your hand. The amulets and Earth Sigils in particular are cards that I still haven't really wrapped my brain around. And it definitely feels like they've, at some point here, just given up on translating things in English. Like, they've translated the main game into English, and it seems like the cards themselves are now more going to be Japanese, or at least half Japanese. Yeah, we didn't look at the evolved version of this. Discard a card and deal 4 damage to a follower. Enhanced gain +3/+3. Super melancholy. That's a weird phrase. We should just look at all the cards and look if they evolve. Dark Summons. Deal 3 damage to enemy follower. If Wraith is activated, recover 2 play points. Apparently spells don't make sound effects. Accelerate. Return 1 allied follower or amulet to your hand. Draw a card. Otherwise just play it as a creature. And then give it Storm when you play this card using its accelerated follow effect. Evolve this follower. It seems like that's a really good card. But maybe I don't understand how to accelerate. Only accelerated effects will activate when the card is played this way. When you play this card using its accelerate effect, evolve this follower. That doesn't make sense, because that kind of implies that you play it. Oh, no. What it's saying is when you play a different card, they should just say the word different, using its accelerated effect, evolve this follower. So this would be good in an accelerate deck, but you can't play it for 1 mana. The sound effects where it's just a monster sound is probably better than them saying something. Here we have last words, randomly summon Pegasus or Opinion Prayer. Evolved, same. Summon Pegasus has a cooldown of 4 and summons a Pegasus, which is a 5-point Havencraft follower that's 5/3 evolved to a 7/5, which you can see here. Opinion Prayer has a cooldown of 2 and summons a Holy Falcon, which is a 2/1 and a 4/3 evolved. See, Fanfare, put 2 puppets into your hand at the end of your turn. Give +1/+1 to all puppets in your hand. At the evolved, it gives +1/+1, so same thing. Although this powerlifting puppeteer looks very different from the other puppeteers. The puppet is a 0/1/1 with rush that destroys itself. See. And it does just make puppets. And that's it. I can't help but once again feel like the evolved art is kind of just unnecessary stuff. And then the silver one we have is Titanic Showdown. Put a random follower that originally cost at least 9 play points from your deck into your hand. If any other Titanic Showdowns in play, recover 4 play points and banish this amulet. Last words at the start of your next turn, put 5 random followers that originally cost at least 9 points from your hand into play. Okay. That seems like that could be a game winner as far as cards go. What was that it just said there? Huh. Daily deal 50 crystals. That's not a deal. So where are we as far as creating cards now that we've gotten this far? We have 141 pages where it was 142 before. So there's still a lot of cards to get. Just getting halfway through the first chapter is not going to satisfy the need if you want a nice, for varied collection of cards, obviously. But it is certainly just taking a very, very long time. And we're not really getting as much of a reward as I would like to be getting. And as we get new cards, I don't think we're getting recommended pre-made decks that are better in any way. So I'm gonna have to stop playing with the pre-made decks eventually. See, this is questionable. Why do I have 3 copies of this basic card, but it's in the create cards section? That doesn't make sense. See, and there's seemingly no way to eliminate that either. So why have it that way? That doesn't make sense. Like, this is a basic card. You have 3 copies of it. There's nothing more to it other than maybe it has connected cards. Some of these really common cards only require 50 vials, so I could potentially try and fill out my collection that way. That is something I need to give some thought to once we do the entire main story, is where is the value there, and what is the reward there also, because let's see, if we look at extras, we have 47 bronze, which would give us 470 vials. So it costs 50 vials to craft a bronze one by the looks of it, and you get 10 vials back. So you definitely don't want to craft things with vials yet, or probably ever. You probably just want to always try to get legendaries that way at best, and legendaries and only legendaries. Unless the cards I was looking at were actually silver cards, and even if they were silver cards, then it would be an equal trade. If it's an equal trade, that might work, because this is like 50 per 19 extras. So let's see. Trait. No. Standard. Silver. Bronze. Let's see. What does this cost? No, bronze does cost 50. So it's not a equal trade. It would have been nice if it was an equal trade, but odds. Yeah, we can see here. You liquefy for 10, you create for 50. Okay, So we still got plenty of cards. Plenty of cards to collect. And plenty of things that for me to do off screen. As far as actually playing the game and getting that done. Fingers crossed we just speed through the rest of these, and the rest of these chapters are way shorter. Although we may run into another easy solution in the fact that we might just try to do the Guild War Chapter 3. Heck, we might even try to do Chapter 2, and I might just find that it's just impossibly difficult. And we may have a single episode where it's like 2 or 3 hours of me banging my head against a wall trying to get it done and just failing miserably. And I guess if that's the case, then that would be the end of the single player series for a while. I would just have to either try and do it off screen or build up my deck by just doing daily quests. And that's the one thing that we are racing against right now, is that I really don't have time to wait, say, 3 or 4 days to do each one of these solo experiences, so that I might have some more missions that might give me some more rewards. That's going to be it for this stream. Wait, this isn't a live stream, this is a recording. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist or a gift card. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.